Welcome to Got Grass, conversations with the legends and leaders of Bluegrass. You've enjoyed live Bluegrass at Guitar Town CT concerts in Hampton, Connecticut since 2008. From Tony Rice, Ralph Stanley, and Doyle Lawson to Tim O'Brien, Sierra Hall, and Billy Strings. Now you can go behind the scenes as we chat with your favorite Bluegrass stars. I'm your podcast host, Chris Worth. So I want to welcome Larry Sparks to Got Grass. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be with you. Good to be with you.
It's taken us a little bit of back and forth to get to this point, but we're finally here, so I'm very happy to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it took a little bit of engineering, didn't it, to get it worked out?
Yeah, well, we're both old school. I'm 71, so I'm old school. All this stuff is kind of new to me too. So, but I'm glad we worked it out. So I'd like to start these interviews with a non-music question, which is, what would a perfect day off be like for you?
When I go on the road, Chris, and I travel a lot over 61 years I've been into this. But when I come home, I'm on vacation. So I come taking the vacation when I come home.
Yeah.
But it takes a little time to get your thinking, relaxed, and because I work. When I go out, I give myself to the people, and to me and the people. That's who but which is no problem. This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But you do that, over and over. It's you need a little time to just relax a little bit, and you can. And with my home list, it keeps growing, so it keeps me busy.
Do you have any particular hobbies or things you like to do to relax at home?
Well, not a whole lot. I don't have anything special, but I fool with old cars a lot. Fool with them and antique cars and everything. Some people ride horses, but I better not try that. I fall off again. Back years ago, I had growing up had a pony, but Dad had a mule, all that. But I fool with antique cars a little bit, and I fool around. We try to keep things up at home. I do a lot myself, work around the place and take my time. And I'm a real good painter, Chris. I'm a real good painter.
Painting can be very relaxing. I know. I've done a lot of it in my life too.
But I don't tell nobody I'm a good painter.
That's probably smart. When I was talking to Doyle Lawson, on this podcast earlier on. He also likes old cars. He has an old restored, I don't know if it's a Mercury or something, but he likes to go drive around with his wife in the country. He finds that very relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a bunch of old cars. I think the oldest one I got is a 31 Model A. And I got a garage, probably I got 6 or 7 old cars I hear fool with. And when I growed up, it's what people drove them old cars around. You'd see them driving them, and in the late 50s, 1960, 55 to 60, you can see a 1931 on the road, 30 or 40 model people driving.
Yeah. Well, we forget today that, back in the 60s, a 1940 car was not all that old. I mean, now it's right. Antique, but it wasn't all that distant that the 40s were. So,
yeah, well, it's kind of like driving a 2004 right now,
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like 20 years old, I guess, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So growing up, do you remember hearing music and saying, or just thinking that really attracted you? That's what you wanted to do. Do you remember that ever? Or?
Yeah, I do. So it's, the music, I think, was big. And a lot of it's just natural for us to have it in us. It really is. And I think it was me. But there was music that picked up, listened to sometimes. And I think that was a help too. But I think you're, kind of born with it in you. That's what's in you. That's what you want to do. I could have went to other trades and doing something else in life and making, doing some other kind of work, and I would have worked. I wouldn't have not worked at something. But I tried working, when I was in my teens. I station work, little mechanic work, and different things, and painting and stuff like that. But went back to music. I just always had it there. I went right back to it, and I just thought, well, I'm going to try this, give it a shot, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And here I am, 61 years later.
Here you are. Yeah. I've heard that one of your early influences was Wayne Rainey, who was a big country star back in the day. He's not as well known these days as he should be. In fact, I'd never heard of him until a couple of years ago. But was he someone you listened to as a teenager?
Yeah, well, growing up when I was 10, 12, 13 years old, picked up WCKY in Cincinnati. That's where Wayne Rainey broadcast every night. 7:30 came on, I believe it was. 7:30 every night, weeknight. And then we had there was another station, the WPFB in Middletown, Ohio, that was on every day, every afternoon. That played that bluegrass and country music, gospel mixed up. And so those two stations they stood out, WCKY Cincinnati, WPFB in Middletown, and there's another one in Hamilton, Ohio, that stood out. We picked them up real good, to come in strong. And then I took the radio dial and I moved it to the left. Kept turning. Uh-oh. Picked up the Grand Ole Opry. My goodness. I remember when I was smaller, we had the old time 4 model radios, and we listened to the Opry back then. Minnie Pearl, Roy Acuff, and all these people, that were on it. When I was small, I remember the Opry very well, and as I got a little older, I switched back over and found that Opry on the 650. I listened to the Opry too, a lot, nighttime, weekends when I could. So those stations, there's another station in Tennessee too. I can't remember the call letters up. Pick it up good. But now that's about the station, that played the music I could listen to, when all we had was a radio. We had no TV. We had no telephone. We just had a radio. That's it.
Were your parents into music too and listening along with you, or was that your thing?
Well, sort of yes and no. They worked so much, they were old timers. And my dad was born in 1902. Mother was 1906. That generation of people, they raised families and kids and worked, and that they put that first. That's what they were just busy working all the time, And music was not in the front line too much, it really wasn't. But I think there was a talent there. There was a talent in the family, but nobody went for it much. My sister Bernice, she was a pretty good singer, and she's 87 years old now and doing pretty good. But when I think before I started in school, he showed me the chords on the guitar. I picked it up real quick, really good. And we sang together in churches, around local churches and things. And she showed me chords on the guitar, and I caught on real quick. Really did. And from there, I just kind of I got more interested in it. As I learned the chord, and I got more interested. It's just meant for me, I think, to do what I'm doing. It really is.
It sounds like you were following your inner path from a very young age. Yeah. Were you listening to the
Yeah.
Stanley Brothers too as a kid or teenager?
I remember the Stanley Brothers. Wayne Rainey played their music a lot at Cincinnati. And I remember the Stanley Brothers on his show a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were very popular in their days.
Yes,
in their
they
time,
were.
Late 50s up to the 60s. Became pretty popular. Recorded for King Records in Cincinnati. King Records was located there at that time. Big company, King Records.
Right. And then at some point, so you were, from what I understand, you were playing and singing at local places around, and somehow you met up with the Stanley Brothers, and they hired you or asked you to come play with them. Is that correct?
Yeah, true. And one of the first shows we played was University of Chicago, and they recorded that some way. It came out years later, on a CD. I don't know if they ever promoted that well or not, but it was recorded. The show at the University of Chicago.
Yep.
1965, when that was.
So when they asked you to play with them, you were still in your late teens, right? 17, 18 years old.
I think it was around 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was.
So would you describe yourself as a nervous teenager or a confident young man when you played with them? Because that's pretty young.
Yeah, it is. No, I wasn't a nervous teenager. I just wanted to do the job that they wanted me to do. I was very set in thinking. I want to do their music, not something that I want to do. I want to do what they want me to do to match their music. Match them.
So at that point in the band, obviously Carter and Ralph were both. Carter was still alive, and what was your relationship with Carter or Ralph when you're with the band as a young teenager? Like, who was the band leader? Who was the one you kind of dealt with all the time?
Well, Carter was more outgoing than Ralph was. Ralph was more, he didn't get into a lot, but Carter was out front more with everything. Yeah. He was he was a show he made. He was, I guess, the guy that run the show. Carter was. He run the show and the songs and kind of what he did. That was for the show. That's what worked.
Yes.
But him and Ralph did. They worked together too. They blended together. Really good blend. They had a good harmony blend. Both of them together. Very good. And and Ralph, he did some solo work, old time songs he did, which was good. And but Carter, he pretty much led everything himself. When I met Carter, he would have been like I think 39, 40 years old. Then he passed away at 42.
Yeah. So when Carter died, were you in the band at that point, or had you left?
I was still with them, but they did their. Let's see, they did a show at Bean Blossom. I suppose been their last show they did together. Carter and Ralph, but I wasn't with them on that show. I was getting into more this part-time stuff with them,
Mm-hmm.
And well, I was with them off and on a couple of years.
Yeah. Would you say that you kind of modeled yourself in any way after Carter Stanley, just his persona and his style on stage, or were you always your own man?
I think I was pretty much my own way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could sing his songs, and and it was a natural skill for me to do it. But I never did try to copy him. Actually, I never tried to copy anybody. I never did want to. I appreciated and respected everybody. But was in the business back in them days. I was running around with all them guys, the older generation, doing shows and this and that when I was young. But I think I pretty much, wanted to do things my way. And but you learn from things, you learn from other people, and it kind of dwells in you, but you don't. I didn't never want to become a copy of anybody,
That's right. So Ralph Stanley did play up here at one of our concerts in 2014, and he was so gracious chatting with people and signing albums throughout the whole intermission. He was just sweet man. What are your memories of Ralph Stanley? Anything come to mind special?
Well, you learn a lot from people that when they don't say anything.
Hmm.
You see. And he never talked about the business, never talked about music that much. When I went with Ralph after Carter passed away in February of 1967, when he came back out, it was just, we just, our voices started blending really good. And the playing, it was just natural for me, and we just hit it off good, really did.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did 5 albums with Ralph. I think it was 5 albums.
Yeah.
And but we had no problem at all. Just went on the stage, and Ralph carried the show. And did it his way, and I tried to do what he wanted, do it his way.
I've seen a video of you speaking and singing at Ralph Stanley's funeral service. It was so eloquent. It was full of humor, but also a lot of love. I felt like when you talked about him and sang, that was quite a emotional thing to see. Just even on YouTube was very emotional to see.
Yeah. Carter he had to be not to everybody that sing in this music. He's an inspiration to everybody. He was somebody that you listened to, and you respected his singing, his feel that he had, and he had a natural feel for the singing. He really did. And it's you don't forget that. It kind of dwells in you, that the way that he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So many of the songs that they sang, it seems like were waltzes in 3/4 time. Do you feel like the waltz gets less attention than it deserves these days? You hear some waltzes, but huh?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah, probably. I think it probably gets less attention. Yeah, yeah. You got to do what you think you feel. You got to take a song and make it you. Make it you. You become the song becomes you. That's the way you got to do it. You got to make that song you. And if you don't, it don't work that way. It's just not coming out the way it should be. Yeah. You got to be the one to make the song you.
Yeah, well, you have,
it,
yeah, yeah, you've certainly done that throughout your life. I will say more than most anybody I can think of in bluegrass. You have a very heartfelt, emotional attachment to the songs, it seems like, and that's your style, I guess.
Well, you have to see the words, not only hear the words. You got to see the words, see what that line means. What's it saying? What do I see? What do I see in that verse? 4-line verse. What do I see? I hear 4 lines. What do I see in that?
Right. So at some point, after you went back and worked with Ralph Stanley in the band, you decided to leave and start your band. How did you come to that decision? That must have been a big decision.
It was. I really respected Ralph and Carter and their music, still do. They had I think there's only three names, Chris, that put this music on the path, and it's Bill Monroe, Stanley Brothers, and Flat and Scruggs. I think those three names were the ones that were, took the music and put it on the path. We all come later. And those three names had good band members too that played a big part in the music also. But you had those names that had their style and their way of doing things. Flat and Scruggs, Stanley's, and Monroe. But and we all come after that, I think. That's the way I see it.
Did you stay in touch with Ralph Stanley after you started your own band? Were you friendly, just casual acquaintances then, or how did?
Yeah, I left in a friendly way. We had no different feel and buddy thing. He understood, and I felt that I could do well. I felt that I had something to offer me and to give to the people that would help the music, take my talent that I have, and give it to the people, and to see, what's going to happen with it. But it was you got to keep it natural. You can't. You got to make sure it's a natural what you're doing. It's not have your heart in it.
Right.
But I just wanted to. Thought I could do more, than what I was doing. That my talent would. I felt I had enough talent to add to the old generation. Add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Help the music and take it on. To be one of the people one of the guys that in the music and doing something for it.
Were you ever tempted? Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just say, and I have done that. Go ahead.
Yes, you have. Yeah, definitely. Were you ever tempted to move to Nashville and kind of be part of the Nashville scene, or were you always happy with your own, where you lived and worked and traveled?
Well, that's a good question. I got to give you a good answer on it.
If you want.
Nashville, Tennessee, Grand Ole Opry. Here's what I moved there one time, set up temporarily. And I recorded an album for Garde Gusto, early 70s there. And but I set up there, and I don't know, I had there's a lot going on back in them days in the 70s, early 70s. Country music was big, bigger than it ever had been. 70s there. A lot of competition. And I just kind of weighed the situation out, and I respect Nashville, Tennessee very much. They took the music and made something out of it. They really have. But I was working a lot, doing my own booking. I've always done everything myself. I've done my own booking, promotion, did everything myself. 60-some years of it. I worked through people, this organization, this and that, but I did it myself and made it work. Got to work to make it work, But I stayed there a few months, and I kind of wish I would have maybe tried to get in a little deeper with it, but I was busy. I was working dates every week. I was traveling, going, and doing my own booking, and I just didn't work out. I was busy, and my road work, my shows were doing well, and I thought, well, we're doing good. I can pay my band, I can pay my expenses, do this and do that. I'm ahead. I don't want to. I better keep what I'm doing and not change it. keep what I'm doing and do it my way and keep it going. I'm doing okay. People had accepted my music, and I was starting to do on my own. A lot of people got acquainted with me during when I worked with Stanley's and Ralph Stanley. But then after when I left, about 3 years, 4 years later there, it was people were catching on to my music, my style, my band, and I was doing good. And I thought, well, I better keep doing what I'm doing, working. Music is not easy. It's not an easy business. And it's working for me. And I better keep doing what I'm doing. And I did.
Yeah.
Nothing against Nashville, Tennessee. I wish I could have maybe done more with Nashville. But I didn't. And it's just, when you are in a situation where you're doing great, you're doing good. And I was. You don't want to mess it up, you don't want to change it. It was working, let it go. Let's keep working with it.
Yeah.
Music is I have a band, but I also have a company. And you got to keep your company up. You got to keep, which is the band, but you got to keep your company up. And it's a business. You got one side of it is a business, and the other side's your music. You got to separate that. And that's what I've tried to do, and I have done it. But you got to look at it you got men to pay, you got a band to pay. They can't go out for nothing. You got to pay them. And early days, I paid my band. I didn't do much myself, but I paid them.
Mm-hmm.
They will take care of the band and my expenses, motels, and whatever. And travel expenses. It takes a lot to run. And but I did that. It was always I did okay. Early days, it was sometimes pretty thin, but just keep at it and make it work.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a business. I look at it as a business as well as music. And you have to.
You have to have both, I guess. Because just the music, you can't survive, and you got to have the business and the music as a balance, I guess. And not that many people can do that and survive.
You got to take the music. Yeah. Take out music, set it up on the shelf. Say, now stay there and don't move. I'll be back. Take care of your business. Come back. Okay, you can come down now.
That's a good analogy. So you're mostly known. You're known as a great bluegrass singer, rightfully so. But you're also a very good guitar player. So how did you learn to play guitar like that? You're always were a very fine, adventurous solo and rhythm player. That just come naturally.
I think so. Yeah, I guess. I play words. I played the words, and Ralph said one time I had a talking guitar. I play the words, and instead of a lot of notes, which is good. No, that's okay. A lot of guys play different, but I try to play the words and do that. Ever what I'm singing, that's what I want to play on the guitar.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember hearing famously that Bill Monroe would tell his band men, just play the melody, boys, play the melody. But you're saying not just the melody, but it's also you're playing the words.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it, in melody and words too. Yeah, play the words, and make the guitar talk, talk the words, play the words. And sometimes you hit a hot lick accidentally. You might hit a hot lick, see.
I don't think it's any accident with you, but anyway.
Yeah.
So speaking of the guitar, you got that old Martin guitar, right? It's an old 1950s, very distinctive looking D28.
Mm-hmm.
And
I bought it.
Yeah,
67 when I bought that guitar. I bought it when I was with Ralph Stanley from Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati. And 1967, when I bought it's a 1954 D28 Martin. And I've been playing it, the same guitar all these years. It's 55 years or 56 years I've been playing it, same guitar.
Yeah.
And so it's been a good one. It's got a little different sound. I thought when I found it, it's something that's a little different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I use Mate's strings. Mate's guitar, or Mate's piano string company makes my strings for me, and they made me a special string called the International Gold. It's, you know, the gold is wrapped all gold string. They call it gold, but and I use the heavy gauge. I use, you know, the heavy instead of the medium on my guitar.
Right.
And they fixed me up with strings, light, medium, and heavy, and you know, to carry with me, and we have them available, you know, when guys want to try them out. But they're good strings. I've always used them. Mate's Piano String Company. They started out in New York in 1912. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, 1912 in New York. Years later, they moved to into Tennessee, and Elizabethton, Tennessee, where they're at. The guy that run the company, he wanted me to have a special string, guitar string. He made me up the Larry Sparks International Gold string. Bob Shaft, that's who it was, run the company, took care of it. Yeah, it's an old company, makes piano string company.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've been in business now 124 years. It's a long time.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
So you don't really mess with that guitar. You just change the strings occasionally, but it looks like it has pretty much not been cleaned, polished, messed with since whenever. Is that true?
Yeah, I'll keep it. The strings I use is heavy gauge. They give me what I want more than the mediums, you know, the way I play. And the mediums are okay, but the way I sound, I'm playing and want is the heavy gives me a better sound. And on stage, they give me a little bit more power, you know, my rhythm, the heavies do.
Yeah.
And we put the bridge. I had the bridge replaced once, and a few years later, back in 1980, around 80, I think it was, the bridge was pulling loose a little bit, and had a plate put under the bridge inside the guitar.
Or yeah,
metal
new bridge
plate.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
They put on jet airplanes. They use it for that type of metal. That's what they use on jet airplanes. Come out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. A friend of mine, Tom Boyd, and he knew a guy who worked over there. He was able to get just a shot of that metal, you know. That's what's underneath my bridge plate. That's been 40 years ago. We put that on. It ain't moved a bit.
Wow, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, it may take off flying yet. I don't know.
Yeah. I notice when you play, you have the guitar slung down pretty low on your hip compared to a lot of bluegrass guitarists. I guess that's just your preference, where you feel comfortable playing it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better to play rhythm that low for me, just the rhythm, you know, than having it high, playing the rhythm. More relaxed, and then I just play my lead there too, you know.
Can we talk a little bit about songwriting?
Yeah, songs is I've arranged more songs than I have, you know, wrote more songs. I mean, but I've wrote a few songs, but if I get a new song, like someone pitches a song to me and I like it, I might have to change the line, change some words in it, you know, to fit me, and arrange it the way I want to do it, you know, to fit me. And I have to do that, you know, to some of them, and some of them is okay. You don't have to do anything to. But I have to have them have a song, that it has to become me, and I'll become the song. That's the way it's got to be.
Right. There's a song I really like, and I think it's your song called "Where the Dim Lights Are the Dimmest." Is that one of the ones you wrote?
Let's see. I'm trying to think where that came from. Ah, see, I can't remember that. That's been a long time.
Yeah. I like that song, and I noticed that a lot of your songs are more gospel influenced, and was wondering how you happen to write a song about drinking and carousing around, which that song is. It's one of my favorite songs. I just was curious
Yeah.
if you remember
Yeah.
writing it or.
I don't think I wrote the song. It's been so long ago.
Really?
It was sent to me, and I guess I recorded. That must have been back in early 70s when I recorded that, I think. Early to mid 70s when I recorded it, I'm sure it was.
I mean, when I see it when I see it on YouTube, I see your name listed as a credit. So maybe you took the song and changed it around a bit to suit your style and got songwriting credit. I don't know, maybe that's wrong, but seemed like it was a song that you were involved in writing. Anyway, it's a nice great song. Yeah.
Well, some songs I don't like to sing, I don't really like to get involved in the message that they have. I don't drink, and I don't drink alcohol, so I don't like to sing about alcohol, really. But
yeah,
I don't into that. But and I'm a follower of our God, Jesus Christ. That's who I became in touch with years ago, and our God is the one that can do a lot for us. He's carried me through everything in this business. It's in His hands.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
I've heard you have a particular love for Hank Williams songs. Do you have a favorite one of his? Do you ever sing his songs? Perform them?
I did an album to Hank one time. I did a whole album to him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And got W. Wise on fiddle. He played fiddle on the album. Recorded it in Nashville at Stardate Studios. I think it's called Larry Sparks Sings Hank Williams, the name of it.
Yeah.
I like Hank's songs. Hank was a hard singer, He's sing it from his heart, he's feeling it. He was a good singer.
Yeah.
You feel that he can make you see the words,
Yeah, I guess a lot of his songs on first appearance seem very simple, but they're about very deep, important things, just sung in a very beautiful, simple way. That's to me is like the genius of someone like him is that it's just everyday language, but when you listen to what he's really talking about, it's pretty deep and emotional.
Yeah, a lot of it is. It's just singing about real life,
I know that Alison Krauss is a huge fan of yours, and I've seen a great video from the Station Inn where you were doing your famous John Deere tractor song, and maybe you called her up from the audience to sing with you. Is that what happened? I just remember.
Yeah, that's better.
I see. Yeah, I just knowing her admiration for you, I just love the look of happiness on her face when she's up there looking at you and singing. It was like priceless. Yeah.
Allison's a good singer. She has a lot of talent. Very good singer.
Yeah.
And she has good songs that suit. She sings songs that suit her,
Correct. Yes.
She's made well. She's done really good in the business. She's done really good, and she appreciates my music, my singing, too. I appreciate her.
Would you ever, or have you ever done a duet album with Allison? Just the two of you singing? Has that ever happened, or would it?
No, never have. It never has happened. No, we could probably do something together, a single record or something, maybe.
Yeah.
do something together. I think the voices would match good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Would blend good. Yeah.
So Larry, if you could have sat down and played music together with anybody in the history of music or bluegrass music, who would you want to have sat down and sang with? Someone from the past. Anybody comes to
Uh,
mind?
yeah. Well, there's a few good ones out there. I appreciate all the country singers and that's, you know, like the opera singers and people that's made it. The older singers, you know, from the opera and things. Uh, there's quite a few of them. Most of them's gone now,
Mm-hmm.
not with us no more. But that's it's hard to say which one I really want to sit down with, you know. But all of them are worth sitting down with. I think, you know, to do something, sitting down and playing, singing with them, and whatever. But yeah, it's hard to separate that. But
Sure.
I respect the music, respect the music overall. If it's not bluegrass, I still, you know, country music is what I've grown up with, you know, the older country and all that is still there with me.
Um, in your long professional career, have you ever been discouraged enough where you actually considered giving up music professionally?
Well, I never wanted to give it up. I don't want to, you know, I'm got a few years on me now, but I don't see myself retiring, and I don't may slow down a little speck or two, but I don't see myself retiring and getting out of business. I think at this time in my life, I want to give what I have people, and so far, most people they accept my music, my singing, my style, and I want to keep giving it to them. Got a new album coming out in I think around April, so
Nice.
I think that's going to be a good album for us. But I want to keep on going and not, keep going with my music and singing and with they call me people call me the youngest of the old timers. The old timers, people like that've been into it that I had a chance to be around a lot. With Monroe and Stanley's and a lot of different singers that were in the business, back in the day. And, I've run with about all of them in bluegrass music. But so they call me the youngest of the old timers. But the old timers not with us no more,
Yeah. Right.
And
Do you have a good Bill Monroe story that you could tell quickly?
I don't know about that, but Bill helped me a lot. He really did back years ago. And he booked me in the Bean Blossom about year after year, And so did Ralph Stanley when I started my band in '69. Ralph used me at his festival there in Virginia every year. Well, I was there, just about every year I played it. And the same with Bean Blossom, Indiana. Bill's place. He was very good. He respected what I did. He wanted me to be with him, to be a part of it. I guess he knew my style was different, and it wasn't a copy to him. Trying to, and it was a different sound, the way I did things. And the same with Ralph Stanley's festival there. You got to be your own, have your own sound, have your own music, and be yourself, have your own style and ID. You got to have an identification, when you're singing, playing, you need that.
Did Bill Monroe ever ask you to join his band at any point?
Well, I could have went in his band at one time. I was with Ralph, I think, but I wouldn't, didn't push it, didn't go forward with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Bill was, he was a worker for the music, that's for sure. He was in it a long time. Before him, there was people that he had to be influenced by also. He took what he did from other people back, older bands back in the 20s and 30s, and he learned, I'm sure, a lot from those people too. Then he came up with his own thing, his own way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 1936 when he went on the Opry, if I'm not mistaken on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like late 30s. And he had the Monroe brothers there for a long time, which is very, very good together. Bill came into it, I guess, in 1946. I think it was. He took the music and called it bluegrass music after the state of Kentucky. Named it after Kentucky. Yeah.
Right. Did you ever stop to think back? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying bluegrass has become very popular, more popular than it ever has been. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of work. We still got to work at it. We're not through working at it yet. But I just want to see it get bigger and better. But the radio stations that don't play our music, they play, the modern country, which is okay. Play what they want to play. But I think bluegrass needs respect, to be on these stations also across the United States. And we're not on a lot of the big stations that don't play bluegrass. It needs to be on there. But you need a good program director, bluegrass on these stations. You see, you need a good program director to know what them stations need to play, and it would work. It work.
I mean, I guess one of the few places where bluegrass is still heard on radio a lot is on Sirius Radio. But of course, you have to pay for that. That's not free, so that's a different world.
Yeah. I think people, it's Kyle Cantrell has, I think, Banjo Radio now. So too.
Oh.
He has a new show. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Called Banjo Radio.
Banjo Radio.
Yeah.
So if you, as you think back on your life, can you imagine if you were not a musician, what you would have done as a career? Did you have anything else that was, or was it always like you can't imagine yourself not being a musician, I guess?
Really true. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really true. I think some of us are cut out for it. And like I say, if my talent didn't take me anywhere back years ago, if it hadn't took me as far as it's took me, or even when I started, I mean, if it wasn't working for me like it did, then I would have had to done something else, I went into something else. But it was God's plan to have me doing what I'm doing. And that's the way I see it. And I had to work with it and make it work, And I think I'm supposed to be in it. From day one, I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
seems that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's but if it hadn't have worked, why, I would have found something to do.
Larry Sparks, house painter.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Working on a car. Look at he's under that car working on it. Oh, I'm a mechanic now.
So as you get older and you're still performing and touring and recording, how do you take care of yourself health wise? I know it gets harder and harder physically to do this kind of work. Do you have any special diet or a regimen that keeps you healthy?
Well, to start with, yes, I don't got to take care of your health. That's what you need to do. Take care of your health. Now, back, I think 40 some years ago, or 45, maybe, I started taking vitamins. Yeah, I take them every day. I take vitamins every day. And I think they help. And I have no health problems at all. I don't have any issues of any kind. I don't take any medication of any kind. I don't take nothing. But as we get older, while we, you slow down a little bit. The body does. You don't move as fast. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you won't. But I don't get involved in. Never been in drugs. I don't take no drugs. I don't take no alcohol. I don't smoke pot, and I don't vape. So I take that stuff and don't need it, and I won't fool with that stuff. Don't need drugs. You don't need alcohol. You don't need it in this business. But I'll say I don't need it. I won't talk about nobody else.
Right.
But that's other people's business what they do. But I don't think it can take a toll on you. It can take a toll, and by me having the health that I've got, I think that staying away from all that really helps.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how alcohol has taken its toll on a lot of great bluegrass musicians, not least Carter
Sure,
Stanley.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's I
It's
guess
no
it
good.
was it was probably a big part of the lifestyle back then when you were traveling by bus and you had nothing to do and you sit and have a few beers or whatever, and it just became part of life for a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a part of life. When I got into it, everybody, drink. I don't smoke cigarettes either. So I quit smoking many years ago. I never smoked much at all, but I quit smoking, and I ain't had a cigarette in 45, 50 years.
Nice.
And, I don't fool with that either. That's no good for you. No good. But back years ago, when I went into places playing these nightclubs, and you made a living at it, you did okay. But and some of them you did. But everybody drank and smoked, that was the thing. Everybody drank and smoked. And so if you hang around that, that's what you're going to start doing.
Right.
Hang around it long enough. But there's a lot of good guys back in them days, there wasn't terrible people because they drank and smoked, but I have friends today that drink and smoke. I want to be friends with them. I have nothing against them. But
yeah. How did you manage to avoid that? Were you just set against it from just the way you just didn't want to get involved, period, in that stuff?
Well, I think I knew it was wrong because it was wrong. It leads you different ways and just leads you the wrong way. And then I look around and see what other people's doing, their lifestyles, and bless their hearts. Some of it just took a toll on people. It really has. And it's just I don't know. It's just, but I have friends that drink and stuff and smoke. My son, oldest son, he's 58. He smokes, and he's trying to get him to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's he can. It's smoking's terrible for you. It's really bad for you. And I just don't want nothing to do with it. It's no good for your health, and it'll affect your lungs and your singing too. Your voice.
Yes.
Fooling with it long enough.
Yeah.
And you want to take care of yourself and take care of the music and take care of your health. And back years ago, when I smoked, my mother said, "Son, if you don't quit smoking, I'm going to pray you get sick." I said, "Mom, come on now, come on." She said, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Pray you get sick if you don't quit them cigarettes."
Wow.
And I wasn't a heavy smoker, but I smoked light. I didn't smoke very much. Smoked what little I smoked, I shouldn't have smoked.
but I went and coming out of Nashville one night, Nashville, Tennessee. We played somewhere down there, where it was, and on my way home, I started feeling it on stage, Then, by the time I got back, and I really was getting sick, but it's a different sick. I never had sickness like that. It wasn't like a regular sick. I was down for a couple of days. I couldn't hardly move, and I was so weak, in body and kind of sickish feeling. Then my strength started coming back in a couple of days. When I got my strength coming back, then the cigarette craving left me all at once. Left me right then. I never wanted one since.
Wow.
And I had a pack laying over there, and I threw them in the trash. I had a pack laying out, and I threw them in the trash. So prayers can be answered.
Do you think that was your mom's way of getting you to quit?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Prayers can be answered. It sure can.
Yeah.
But it answered for me, because I didn't want a cigarette after I gained my strength back. And sure, it had to be. I seen a pack laying over. I laid them down when I come in. Half pack cigarettes or something. I never smoked much. I really didn't. I wasn't a heavy smoker going around blowing smoke in people's face all the time. I never was a heavy smoker, but I did smoke maybe 2 packs a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Half
It's
of them
funny.
would burn up when I was booking shows. I'd book shows and light a cigarette. And it'd burn up over even smoking while I was booking the show.
Yeah. I mean, I smoked for a while too, and I know a lot of smokers who quit like to take a pack of cigarettes that's still half empty and like crumple it up and throw it away. It just feels good to. Some people will want to smoke the last one and then throw out the empty pack, but with me, it was like it's still there. I'm going to throw it away, half empty. That's how I'm going to quit, and it did. I did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so much that's just harmful to you, and my advice to anybody that smokes is quit. I don't care if you sing or whatever you do, quit. Throw them down. They're no good for you.
Yeah.
But it's just, and you get addicted to smoking, and it's hard to quit. It really is.
It is.
It'll be hard to quit smoking.
As is drinking.
Yeah, same way. Yeah,
same thing.
I don't fool with that stuff. I don't fool with alcohol at all. When I was young, I sipped a little bit around these places, but everybody else was sipping, so I sipped.
Yeah, right.
But I never was drunk. Never had to have it, and I ain't had to drink alcohol in many, many, many years. Don't want it.
This brings me back to an earlier question, which I didn't ask you, and I don't want to pry, but when you were playing with the Stanley Brothers, and I know Carter drank, which probably caused his early death, were you aware of it at the time as a teenager, or were you just so happy to be playing with them you just were not even noticing?
Well, I knew that he drank. Carter drank. He never was a drunk. He wasn't. He never did show drunkenness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Carter was a light sipper, I think, over the years, and just caught up with him. Really did. It take 20 years of in your system, of a strong drink of some kind. It can take its toll on you. And Carter never get high and was a turned into an alcoholic type of person, and he was always on low key, and he never did. He always run his show just like he always did. But I think he's probably when he was young. Back in them days, people drank a lot. They made moonshine, this and that, and he was around a lot of that. And it's he just maybe let things get to him and started sipping, and through the years, it just caught up with him, and not only him, it can do anybody else. But Carter was a good person. He was, he really was, and he wasn't an alcoholic drunk person, always. He wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You can take just short, just small sips through 20 years, and it'll get you, could get you. It's your liver, and that's whatever it attacks.
it's not good. I don't want to get in. Don't want to be a part of it. I just don't want to be. I've seen that he was not that way. He was very humble with himself, but he just went too long with, that got a hold on it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to end on that note. I have kind of one more question, which is really a non-music question, which is there anything that people would be surprised to know about you that people might not know about you? Any Larry Sparks surprises? Or are you pretty much as you seem?
I think can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'll phone messed up here or something. Hold on just a second. Looks like it's about trying to go off on me or something. Hold on just a minute.
Sure.
I'll get back in here. Okay. Well, I got an album out. The last album I did, Rebel put it out. It's just me and the guitar and singing. And that's what they wanted to put out too. So my son plays bass and just myself, It's called It's Just Me. And we were talking one day with Rebel, Mark Freeman, and said, well, Mark, do you have any ideas what to call the album, what we should title it? And he thought a minute and he said, well, no, he didn't know for sure what to come up with. I said, well, it's just me, Mark. It's just me. The whole album is just me. He said, that's it. What title? It's just me. But, and that's the way I am, just me to the people.
Yep.
And I don't try to shun people. I love people out there, and somebody wants to come over to our area and wants an autograph, they get it. Talk to people, speak with people. We got to work together. The people supports the music, and we are the music, and we got to work together. Now, more than ever, we got to work together.
Yes, I agree with you.
We're at a point. Yeah, we're at a point where we are going to have to keep the older music going, and I think we can do it. There's a lot of people out here that appreciate, the older ways, the older music, and I know we have the new high tech stuff out there, but it's just there. But we have a world full of people that likes the old traditional music. World full of people.
Mm. Yep. Well, I'm one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've come to the end of our hour plus. I really want to thank you, Larry, for taking the time to chat. I've been thrilled to be able to talk with you. It's been a long time coming, and I hope someday we'll see you up here in Connecticut. I know it's a haul for you to get up here, but if you're ever inclined to play up here, we could like to accommodate you. So thanks again for chatting, and goodbye. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for the podcast. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, and I'll send you the link to the episode so you can hear what we chatted about.
Yeah, okay, that'll be fine. We can do that.
Okay.
And hope it went okay. Hope it has.
It was great. No, you talked about a lot of great stuff, and I'm just, it was very nice of you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care, Larry.
Uh-huh. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed our podcast, and thanks for listening. Visit our website, guitartownct.com, for concert and podcast schedules, or just to send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.